In the summer of 2023, April Holt was not just a young mother. She embodied optimism and strength. With over 200,000 followers on TikTok, she had crafted her own brand, where the image of a perfect family, bright smiles, and positive messages became a symbol for millions. Her videos overflowed with sunshine and laughter, painting a picture of a fulfilled life alongside her two young children, Serenity and Denzel, and her husband, Donovan. April shared sweet moments with her family, from hearty dinners to outdoor activities. However, deep down, she carried unhealed wounds. The arguments and tensions in her relationship with Donovan had quietly seeped into their lives, causing the perfect image to begin to crack.
But yeah, keep growing, y'all. Keep manifesting, and have a great day on purpose.
Despite her efforts to appear strong and positive in front of the camera, the storms of reality had left April feeling isolated and desperate. On July 28th, as the sun illuminated everything, the day seemed to be peaceful. April woke up, reassuring herself that today would be a good day. She began her morning with familiar routines, but felt a vague sense of unease creeping in. After caring for her children and preparing breakfast, she decided to film a new video, a positive message for her fans. Yet, just a few hours later, an emergency call shattered that tranquility. Donovan's frantic voice echoed through the phone. April is in trouble. She can't breathe. Jamie, April's mother, immediately felt her world collapse around her. She rushed to the hospital, her heart filled with worry and dread. Upon arrival, the sight of April lying unconscious in the emergency room shattered her heart. The image of her daughter, a woman who had always radiated light, now lay still and lifeless. Despite the doctor's tireless efforts to save her, April never regained consciousness. 3 days later, devastating news struck. April was gone forever, leaving behind two small children and an unending pain for her family. April's death was not just a tragedy. Something was amiss, lurking behind her mysterious passing. Jamie could not accept this. She sensed that a larger story awaited to be uncovered. Thus, she embarked on a quest for the truth about her daughter's death, a journey that would lead her into the depths of dark secrets and fractured relationships. Viewers will witness a battle not just to uncover the truth, but a struggle for love, perseverance, and the quest for justice. As Jamie delves into the investigation, everything from mysterious clues to family conflicts will gradually come to light. This is not merely a story of a tragic death. It is a profound journey exploring the shadows of life, powerful emotions, and the intricate pieces of love and loss. April Holt's life, as a vibrant and energetic young mother, seemed perfect in the eyes of the world. With two adorable children, Serenity and Denzel, and her husband Donovan by her side, April had built a positive brand on social media, where smiles and moments of happiness overflowed. Her videos, filled with radiant sunlight and echoing laughter, captivated millions who admired her family life. However, the reality concealed darker undertones that only those close to her truly understood. Beneath the beautiful exterior lay a life fraught with pain and secrets. April was a devoted mother who gave everything to her children. Yet deep down, she carried unhealed wounds. Her marriage to Donovan was not always smooth sailing. There were moments of heated arguments, seemingly endless debates over parenting and financial pressures that began to strain their relationship. Donovan frequently worked long hours, but the stress and fatigue gradually created barriers between them. The beautiful days of their lives faded, giving way to overlapping disputes. Signs of separation had long been apparent, yet both of them clung to the facade of a perfect life for the outside world. In reality, they had decided to file for divorce just weeks before April's death, a decision that stunned the entire family. Despite this, April couldn't bear the thought of leaving her family behind. On July 28th, as the sun cast its golden rays, April awoke with a heavy heart. She prepared breakfast for her children, attempting to create a cheerful atmosphere while turmoil brewed within her. The bright images she often shared on social media had become mere masks, concealing her true feelings. A sense of anxiety about the future weighed heavily on her. After completing her daily tasks, April decided to record a new video with an uplifting message, hoping it would bring her some joy. But just hours later, everything shattered. An emergency call from Donovan disrupted her world. April is in trouble. She can't breathe. his frantic voice struck like lightning in a clear sky, leaving April's mother, Jamie, unprepared for what was about to unfold. When Jamie arrived at the hospital, everything became a blur. The sight of her daughter lying motionless on the emergency room bed broke her heart. April, a woman who always shone brightly, was now silent and lifeless. Despite the doctor's tireless efforts to save her, just 3 days later, devastating news struck. April was gone forever, leaving behind 2 small children and an unending grief for her family. April's death was not merely a tragedy. It marked the end of unspoken battles and accumulated wounds over time. Jamie, the grieving mother, struggled to accept this reality. She sensed that something was amiss, lurking beneath the surface of her daughter's death. With unwavering determination, she embarked on a quest to uncover the truth about April's passing, a grueling battle that she had no idea would take her down a treacherous path. When Donovan called Jamie, April's mother, everything crumbled in an instant. "Mom, April is in trouble. She can't breathe." His voice was filled with panic, like a storm suddenly sweeping in. Jamie felt as if time had stopped and fear surged within her chest. She rushed out of the house, overwhelmed by a sense of dread and anxiety. Upon arriving at the hospital, the scene that confronted her shattered her heart. The sight of her daughter lying motionless, machines beeping ominously, sent waves of terror through her. Donovan stood nearby, but his calm demeanor only heightened Jamie's unease. He seemed eerily composed, unlike a husband who had just lost his wife, as if he were suppressing any signs of grief. Despite the doctor's tireless efforts to save April, just 3 days later, Jamie received devastating news. April had passed away, leaving behind 2 small children and an unending grief for her family. April's death was not merely a tragedy. It marked the beginning of countless unspoken battles. Jamie, heartbroken, could not accept that her daughter's death was simply an accident. Something felt wrong. There was a secret lurking beneath the surface. Determined to uncover the truth, Jamie refused to sit idle. She launched a campaign on social media to draw public attention to the case. "My daughter cannot leave in silence," she wrote in heartfelt posts, calling for help. Photos of April, showcasing joyful moments with her family, spread like wildfire, accompanied by a plea for justice. The wave of empathy from the community grew stronger, attracting media attention. Jamie felt a spark of hope as April's story began to circulate widely. Each article, each interview, provided her with the strength to persist. "I will not stop until there is justice for April," she declared with fierce determination during a live television interview. As the days passed, Jamie was not only seeking the truth for her daughter, but also inspiring others. She connected with organizations supporting victims of domestic violence, forming a powerful movement. These brave women, who had endured their own pain and suffering, now stood together in the fight for justice. Jamie's struggle was no longer a personal one. It had transformed into a symbol of hope and resilience. Every call to action, every conversation brought her closer to the truth. She knew the journey ahead would be long, but she was never alone. With unwavering faith in her heart, Jamie inspired millions, reminding them that their voices could bring about change. Throughout this challenging journey, Jamie firmly believed that justice would never be forgotten. She continued to press on, not only for April, but for all those who had endured silence in the shadows. Her fight for justice would not cease until the light illuminated the dark secrets and until April's voice was heard once more. Jamie refused to accept the initial findings of the investigation. With steely determination, she embarked on a journey to gather information, fully aware that her daughter deserved a life and that April's death could not be dismissed as a mere accident. Gradually, Jamie became a true investigator. She spent countless hours in libraries, sifting through documents, contacting witnesses, and reaching out to forensic experts, doing everything in her power to bring the truth to light. Finally, after what felt like endless weeks of waiting, Jamie received a new investigation report from the police department. As she opened the first page, each line seemed to crash down like a dark cloud, signaling a painful reality. The signs of violence that had previously been overlooked now stood out clearly on each page. Bruises on April's body, suspicious injuries in various locations, and strange fingerprints that didn't belong to her. All of these pointed to one unsettling conclusion: a perpetrator lurked in the shadows. Each new piece of information felt like a dagger piercing Jamie's heart. Waves of anger and sorrow surged within her. With an unwavering resolve, she knew she could no longer remain idle. It was time to confront Donovan and clear the air. The small cafe where she arranged to meet Donovan transformed into a battleground. The atmosphere was thick with tension, as if truth and lies were clashing in a fierce duel. Jamie sat there, her gaze sharp and focused, a mother prepared for a fight for survival. "I don't believe you, Donovan. I've seen the report. I know April's death cannot be as simple as you've claimed," she declared, each word striking like bullets aimed directly at him. Donovan, sitting across from her, wore a cold expression, but his eyes betrayed his anxiety. He fumbled, unable to maintain the calm facade he had put on. "Jamie, I don't know anything. It was just an accident," he repeated, but she knew this was nothing but a lie. As she brought up the injuries on April's body and the fingerprints that were not hers, Donovan's face paled, fear etched in his features. I can't," he stammered, as if the walls were closing in around him. Then, in a moment charged with tension, the truth finally slipped from his lips. "I didn't mean to. It just got out of control." Donovan's confession hit Jamie like a bolt of lightning, turning everything upside down. What was once presumed to be a tragic accident had now morphed into a chilling murder. Jamie felt her heart shatter as she absorbed his words. A tempest of anger and sorrow collided within her, but now she understood that she had a lead to pursue justice. With the truth in her grasp, Jamie felt a surge of strength rising within her. She was determined not only to protect her daughter's memory, but also to confront the shadows that haunted her family. Every step she took would not just be a personal journey, it would become a fight for justice, ensuring that the dark secrets had no place to hide. She would not stop until the light illuminated the darkest corners of this story, and April's voice was heard once again. Jamie's relentless battle finally led her to a decisive moment when Donovan was arrested and faced charges of murder. Although time passed, the pain of her loss remained ever present in her heart. As the trial commenced, the atmosphere in the courtroom became stifling and tense. Jamie felt as if she were not only fighting for her daughter, but also for all the victims of domestic violence. Donovan stood in the defendant's chair, his expression as cold as ice. Jamie's gaze pierced through him like daggers. "The husband of my daughter, the man who robbed April of her light," she thought, her anger swelling within her. Her heart raced, but she refused to let those emotions control her. Every moment in court, every piece of testimony, was a challenge, yet she would not allow fear to overshadow her determination. Her lawyer had meticulously prepared for this trial. They sought not only to prove that April's death was a deliberate act of murder, they aimed to evoke emotion from the jury. April's death was not an accident, the attorney asserted, with unwavering conviction. It was a brutal act, a cruel theft of a mother's life, a daughter's life. Each witness called to the stand carried with them stories that touched the heart. They recounted the bruises on April's body, the signs of violence that had been overlooked. Jamie struggled to hold back tears as she listened to their accounts of her daughter's bravery and the suffering she had endured. Each testimony was like a knife cutting into her painful memories, but it also illuminated the darkness, helping her find the strength to continue. Then came the moment when Jamie stood up to confront Donovan directly. This scene was a clash between a grieving mother and the perpetrator who had stolen her daughter's life. "I can't sit here and listen to your lies any longer," she declared, her voice firm and resolute. "April cannot die in silence. I won't let that happen." In that moment, all eyes turned to Donovan, who began to visibly tremble. Jamie's words struck him like bullets, piercing through his facade of indifference. Cornered and desperate, he finally stammered, "I didn't mean to. It just got out of control." His confession was a seismic shock, shattering the narrative that had once framed the situation as a tragic accident. The story had morphed into a chilling murder. Jamie felt as if the ground was shifting beneath her feet. A tempest of emotions, anger and sorrow, rose within her, but now she had evidence to pursue justice. As the trial came to a close and the jury rendered its verdict, Jamie was flooded with emotion. Donovan was convicted of murder, and this verdict washed over her like a gentle wave, bringing with it a measure of justice for April. Yet Jamie understood that this victory was not just about her daughter. It was a powerful message to all those who had endured domestic violence. She stood tall, her eyes shining with faith and hope. "We cannot let other victims fall into silence," she proclaimed with conviction. Every voice has the power to change lives. April's story was not just a tragedy. It had become a revolution, a powerful call to society about the importance of standing against domestic violence and protecting the vulnerable. As Jamie stepped out of the courtroom, her heart brimming with renewed hope, she believed that light would always triumph over darkness and that justice would be served. Her journey was far from over. She would continue to fight for those without a voice, for all those yearning to be heard. Thank you for joining me as we revisited this tragic case. I'm John, this is Killer Cases, and I'll see you in the next video.